Let's get to the headlines this morning. Faced with a surging number of coronavirus cases, President Biden has announced sweeping new requirements for millions of federal workers. Under the new policy, federal government employees and members of the military will have to sign forms acknowledging that they've been vaccinated or else comply with new rules for masking, weekly testing, social distancing, and more. The president is also urging state and local governments to offer $100 to anyone willing to get a shot voluntarily. Speaking from the East Room yesterday, Biden delivered a sharp rebuke to those who are still unvaccinated and emphasized that the fight is still far from over.
Nearly all of the cases, hospitalizations and deaths due to COVID-19 today are from unvaccinated people. Last month, a study showed that over 99% of COVID-19 deaths have been among the unvaccinated. 99%. This is American tragedy. People are dying and will die who don't have to die. If you're out there unvaccinated, you don't have to die. Right now, too many people are dying or watching someone they love dying and saying, if I just got vaccinated. America's divided between the majority of eligible people who are vaccinated and those who are not. And I understand that many of you in the majority are frustrated with the consequences of the failure of the minority to get vaccinated. But I want you to know I'm going to continue to do everything I can to encourage the unvaccinated to get vaccinated. I know people talk about freedom, but I learned growing up in school and from my parents, with freedom comes responsibility. Your decision to be unvaccinated impacts someone else. Unvaccinated people spread the virus. They get sick and fill up our hospitals. And that means if someone else has a heart attack or breaks a hip, there may not be a hospital bed for them. It's an American blessing that we have vaccines for each and every American. We've made it our first and top priority to have available vaccines for every eligible American, and that's never going to change as long as I'm here. And it's a shame. It's just such a shame to squander that blessing.
Perhaps nowhere is the latest coronavirus surge more evident than in Osage Beach, Missouri. The Associated Press was given access inside Lake Regional Hospital there, where 22 people died from the virus in the first 23 days of July. They report Daryl Barker was passionately against a COVID-19 vaccination, and so were his relatives. Then 10 of them got sick, and so did he. I was strongly against getting the vaccine, Barker said, through labored breathing, just because we're a strong conservative family. Barker, at just 31 years old, ended up in the intensive care unit fighting for his life. But just finding a hospital bed proved unbelievably difficult, according to the AP. With his local hospital maxed out with COVID-19 patients, doctors contacted a dozen hospitals in all corners of the state. All were at capacity. He arrived critically ill, placed on a ventilator. Barker was given a 20% chance of surviving. The doctor told me he was going to let my wife and kid in so I could say my goodbyes, because he didn't think I was going to pull through, he said. Barker, who has been hospitalized for 3 weeks, isn't out of the woods yet. In Missouri, COVID-19 hospitalizations have more than doubled since the start of June, and the number of ICU patients has more than tripled. According to the AP, many patients now are younger, in their 20s, 30s, or 40s, and sicker than ever before. Nearly everyone hospitalized is unvaccinated. Meanwhile, a significant number of American healthcare workers are among the millions of people still unvaccinated. NBC News correspondent Gabe Gutierrez joins us now with a look at why. Gabe, what did you find out? You would think these are the people that know the most.
Yeah, Mika, good morning. About 1 in 4 healthcare workers in this country still have not been vaccinated. This is Bellevue Hospital in New York, and healthcare workers actually rallied here last week against so-called vaccine mandates. We spoke with another group in North Carolina yesterday. Show of hands, how many of you have gotten a COVID vaccine?
These are 4 healthcare workers from different hospitals in North Carolina.
Why not?
We don't know what the long-term side effects are.
It also hasn't been proven to be effective.
The CDC and many public health experts say that it's more than 90% effective.
They do say that. That hasn't proven to me to be true.
I'm not going to just jump on a bandwagon with something that has not been tested.
When you say that it hasn't been tested, it has been tested, though.
But not to if you look at the normal year span of how long something is tested, it's usually 12 to 14 years before it comes to humans.
Across the country, about 1 in 4 healthcare workers still isn't vaccinated against COVID. And from North Carolina to Texas to New York, anti-mandate protests are mounting.
I don't trust it right now.
So is the pushback.
This is in the category of give me a bleeping break. When did everyone get a medical degree?
For weeks, we've spoken with many overworked healthcare workers who practically begged Americans to get the shot.
What do you tell people who just don't believe you?
It's frustrating.
Not these. They say they're not anti-vax, more anti-mandate.
And I'm not comfortable putting something into my body until I am ready. If and when I'm ready to get the vaccine, I will get it on my own accord. I won't be forced.
You just don't trust the CDC.
I do not trust the CDC. Absolutely not.
And that fuels their skepticism.
I have the right to question anybody in this country I want to question.
You're entitled to your own opinion, but these are facts.
Are they, though? Are they facts?
And Mika and Joe, that answer despite the fact that more than 40,000 people participated in the Pfizer clinical trial alone. Still, despite that, those healthcare workers, as you just saw, are not convinced. And I should mention, overnight, there's a report that's getting a lot of attention. An internal CDC document, first obtained and posted online overnight by the Washington Post, says that the Delta variant is as contagious as the chickenpox, much more than previously thought. Mika?
All right. NBC's Gabe Gutierrez.
Thank
You so much. Such an
Wow.
important report. We really appreciate you bringing it to us and being with us this morning. I mean, that answer, are they, though? Are they really facts? That's what I get when I have family members and friends sending me information from Chinese religious cults, from their websites, and their conspiracy theories, and you send them back facts. And by the way, I'm not sending them back from an MSNBC website. I'll send back facts from the Fox News website or the AP or the Wall Street Journal. And I'll say, this is Rupert Murdoch's Wall Street Journal, and this is what they say. Are they, though? Are those really the facts? Are those really the numbers? Are those... Oh, people, they didn't die. All those people didn't die. Doctors got paid for saying that somebody died of COVID. I've just got to say the idiocy. And again, everybody's entitled in this country to be an idiot. If you want to be an idiot, you know, it's not what I do, but if you choose to be an idiot about your personal health and the personal health of your children and the personal health of your family and the personal health of your mother and grandmother and father and grandfather, that's your business. For your community, that's fine. That's your business. But hospitals don't have to hire you. The Washington Post doesn't have to hire you. News outlets don't have to hire you. Banks don't have to hire you. Small businesses don't have, but restaurants don't have to hire you. So you have the right to be an idiot. I want you to know that. You have a right to deny science. You have a right to practice voodoo medicine if you choose. That's your choice. But Joe Biden's right, Jonathan Lemire. At this point, where I'm going, at least, and as I say, I hang out in communities filled with Trump supporters. At this point, a lot of people are getting really pissed off. A lot of people are saying, what's with the unvaccinated? What's with this hyper individualism that basically says, I have a right to do this, and as Joe Biden said, but no personal responsibility going along with that hyper-individualism, no concern for their country and what's in the best interest of their country, no understanding or recognition of Jesus' words, do unto others that which you would do unto yourself. It's all, I have a right to infect my house, to infect my community, to kill everybody that might just come in inside of me in a closed, tight room. I have that right, and I'm not going to. That's fine. But at some point, you know what? We got to say, you can't work for the federal government if you don't have a vaccine. You can't teach school if you don't have a vaccine. You can't work in hospitals if you don't have a vaccine. You can't work with our parents and grandparents at long care term facilities if you don't have a vaccine. This is common sense. And I think Joe Biden is starting to finally pick up what Americans are thinking, which is, you know what? If they want to do that to themselves, that's their business. But we need to move on with our life. By the way, something I've been saying now for 6 months, they can do what they want to do, but we don't have to eat with them. We don't have to send our parents and grandparents to hospitals with them. Like, if they want to live in the darkness of the edge of town, that's their business. They're Americans. But we don't have to let you go where we go. Do what we do if private businesses don't want to hire you for being so reckless with your health and everybody else's.